Hey, it's Lori Hoke. Awesome. Good to be with you. I am here to inspire and develop the leader within you. Each time we talk, I love to share something that's really the overflow of my latest learnings and my own experiences. Today, that theme is identity. Wow, I've realized what a threat identity theft is to each and every one of us every single day. Now, am I talking about your bank account information or your credit card or social security number being compromised? No. Not those external things. I'm talking again, as I love to do, about the deeper work within us. I have become certain that one of our greatest weapons is knowing who we are. Man, that is huge ammunition in our arsenal to have a strong sense of identity. Now, there are various things we can do in our lives that strengthen and fortify our understanding of self and our posture to defend that or to stand in that. And there's things that we do on a daily basis that allow those external threats and toxic influences to rob and sabotage our identity right out from under us in such a subtle, covert way, we don't even recognize it. Have you been a victim of identity theft? Again, not the bank account information, but the personal sense of identity. It hit me strong, and it hit me just this week. Here's how. I didn't realize how subtly heaviness, oppression, kind of these feelings where we just feel like our motivation's been sucked out from under us. I didn't realize how subtly that can move in and how illegal it is and untrue it is to you and I's true self. Until I saw it this week through an experience. You see, I think a lot of us are walking around less than confident, less than certain of who we really are. So we allow a lot of stuff to come into our sphere and we own it, not realizing that it's an imposter. It is simply a threat and an attack on our identity that we don't have to make agreement with. It happened to me this week this way. I was listening to, on my Audible account, an audiobook. A fictional book, but kind of not really based on a true story, but it's someone's own interpretation of how kind of the battle between good and evil work. It's called This Present Darkness, and it was eye-opening in many ways. It's like an 18 to 20 hour book. I was about 15 hours into it. I've been going at this for a while, enjoying the storyline and having my eyes open in many ways. What I didn't catch until 24 hours later was the fact that one night this week, I was listening to it late at night, up doing laundry, washing dishes, all the stuff us moms do after everybody else is in bed, and kind of bringing order to my house. And I was listening to it, and the storyline got pretty dark. And I didn't know quite at the time what was happening, but I suddenly began to feel fearful. I can say that now because in hindsight, I look back and I know what was happening. But at the time, how did that manifest? Well, I began kind of looking around, not wanting to have my back turned to letting things come in behind me. And the real trigger point that I recognized the day after was that when I went around at night, as I could feel this kind of storyline cause me to question and to feel less than safe. Oh, wow. Oh, you did it. Awesome.
No, Daddy did it.
Okay, I'm making a leadership message now, so I'll talk to you in just a bit. As I'm going around the house, we have enough space here that we don't go around and shut the blinds every night. We have no issues really with privacy because we have the space around us without feeling like people are staring at us, super close next door neighbors. So we've been enjoying that transition to having more privacy without needing to have all your gates closed, or blinds shut in order to do so in the evening hours. So the difference that was the tangible thing, that something had shifted in me, that part of my identity had been compromised, was I became fearful. And I went around, and I wouldn't have been able to say, I'm afraid. I wasn't that aware. But as I'm doing my things, I go around and notice that I'm now shutting the blinds and pulling the shades closed. I wonder, as we're talking this out here, if there are certain indicators you can notice, or behaviors or signals that you start doing when there's been a shift in you away from the powerful, strong, courageous person you are on the inside. What are some of the signals that show that something else is trying to influence you now? It's important to be aware of that and to monitor it, because once you can see it for what it really is, then you can capture it and dismiss it rather than letting it suck you into it. We need to be able to stand up to these threats rather than backing down on these things that try to compromise our identity. It's our responsibility to know who we are and to guard and protect that, rather than allowing other things to come in and cloak us with heaviness or oppression or depression or just apathy, passivity, whatever it might be. Trying to keep us from expressing ourselves boldly and standing in that unique truth that only we can be. So I went through the day after closing the blinds just feeling off. I mean, I felt off. I did some fun things. I had some good conversations, but overall I felt, it was off. And it's like I knew it. I could sense I wasn't in my sweet spot, but I didn't have enough awareness to know why. I didn't have enough clarity to link the fear that set in the night before to why I'm not able to show up the way I want to in my life today. So I went through that whole day, and then I had a phone call with a friend, good friend of mine that speaks into my life in very powerful ways, which I'm so grateful for. Get on the phone, and immediately he says this: "You sound disconnected." Geez, he could sense it before I could really have articulated it so clearly. Like, disconnected. Wow, that pretty much nails it. Thanks. I didn't know how to say that myself, but I do feel disconnected. Something is off, and I'm not in touch with my true self today. What's the barrier? So as I began to think this through, I'm like, on the phone with him, when did this shift and what really shifted? And I could pinpoint it back to the night before. I said, you know what? Last night, it was late at night. I was listening to my audiobook, and the storyline turned rather dark, and it actually made me feel unsafe. And I went around my house. I haven't done this before unless the sun was in our face and we needed to be able to eat breakfast without the blinds letting all the light in. I went around and closed my blinds for the first time in that intentional way, trying to keep something out. I said, man, I let fear come in, didn't I? It was a heavy blanket on me the whole next day. But you know what? This dialogue with my friend helped me recognize it, helped me break it off. And boy, the minute I told that thing it had to go, the joy came back. Just the overwhelming love and desire and motivation to be all I can be immediately returned. And I thought, man, that is the power of knowing who we are and guarding and protecting that sense of self. Just in a flash, in a heartbeat of a moment of that storyline, a few chapters in that book, suddenly just boom. I lost sight of my courage, my boldness, my bravery, my thing, and it sucked me in for 24 hours. It could have been days had I not had this eye-opening conversation with my friend. I think there's a lot of us that get sucked into that, and our identity is being sabotaged, and we don't even know what's happening. We don't even know what to call it. We're so unaware. We're so just uninformed about what we're really experiencing as identity theft. That has just stolen our sense of self and what we stand for and who we are. Now, am I saying in this example that it's wrong to be afraid? No, fear is a normal part of life, but letting it master me and letting fear be my truth, that's where I draw the line. That is, fearful is not who I am. I'm courageous, I am bold. And so one of the ways that I've found we can take this offensive posture of standing in our identity and holding true to that and keeping that at the forefront of our mind at all times is by declaring things about us, making these positive affirmations, these I am statements that say, I am powerful, I am bold, I am courageous, I am unwavering, I am unstoppable, I am a brave leader who puts myself out there to create new, meaningful connections. Those kind of statements remind us who we are. If we're saying that as a regular discipline, we're going to be much more keen to recognize when those outside threats try to come in and compromise us, getting us off track so we lose sight of our destiny. See, the forces of this world, the evil forces, spiritual forces, whatever you want to say, whatever fits your context, want to have us living in an identity compromised state. Because when we know who we are, that is one of the most powerful forces on the planet that creates a compelling story of us being able to make epic impact in and around us for the present time and for the generations to come to bear the good fruit of. So it's no accident that there are many things that try to come in and steal our sense of self, wanting to have us be in the defensive position of trying to get it back rather than keeping the ball in our court and us calling the shots and defining what's true about us. See, when we're in the defensive posture, always trying to get back that sense of self because we've given it away to these feelings of mopey-dopey, these feelings of being stuck, this feeling of just, oh, I'm so tired, I don't have the energy, I'm too busy, just this apathetic passivity. Those things can make us ineffective on this planet and keep us just in the status quo so easily, where then we're running in this hamster wheel kind of circle, always trying to reclaim back who we are, rather than being able to say, I'm not letting those threats in. I'm arming myself continuously with the awareness of who I am, so therefore I deflect the thoughts that try to come against that and conflict with that. We do this by the I am statements, positive affirmations. We can be in the offensive mode of keeping our identity close at heart and dismissing those toxic influences that want to steal it by guarding our thoughts and recognizing that not everything that comes into our mind is an actual thought we need to make agreement with and empower in our lives. Comparison is a quick way to sabotage our identity. Jealousy, anger, allowing feelings of inadequacy or of not being enough. Those kind of things can, boom, derail us and make us feel less than and insufficient in a moment, being powerless rather than powerful, and knowing who we are and not letting those things, sure, my friend might be better at this than I am. More power to her. Yay, you. I celebrate your talent and where you're strong. That doesn't have to be something that makes me feel insufficient, only if I choose to let my identity be stolen in that regard. Another 2 ways that I think is huge for protecting our sense of identity is being in relationship with people that speak truth in our lives and can tell us who we really are, the powerful person they see and experience, even when that's not our truth. So having people in our lives that show us who we really are. I had a good friend a couple of years ago that showed me things about myself, calling me courageous and brave and bold, and how I was able to take simple things and put them into action, or take complex things and put them into simple actions to create big results. They're like, wow, you know how few of people actually do that? Most people just sit on their butts and wait for things to happen. You saw this simple how-to from a webinar, you put it into practice, you did it, and you created awesome results in people's lives and in your company. They're like, you are so courageous. Me? Courageous? At the time, that really struck me. I didn't see myself that way. That just felt normal to have an idea and go about the execution so that it could make a profound impact for others as well as myself. That didn't feel courageous, but him speaking that truth into me showed me something about myself that I couldn't yet see. It showed me a component of my identity that I wanted to claim ownership of and be able to step into and operate from in a more conscious level. So have people in your life that speak truth into you, that can show you things about you that you can't see for yourself. And finally, what I especially learned from this last week and my experience when my friend could sense that disconnection and call me back into alignment with my true self, was that I need to let others help me. I need to learn to ask for help when I'm feeling off. Don't walk around feeling stuck and in a rut for days or weeks or months at a time. No, no, no. Recognize that your identity's been compromised. You're in a dangerous crisis kind of situation. That you've experienced identity theft, and the way to get that back is to invite other people in to help you figure out what's happened so that you can move more powerfully forward. You don't have to stay stuck. That's the good news today. What I'm telling you today is stuck is not your identity. Unless you choose to be a victim and just stay there in complacency for your life long. But you watching this right now tells me stuck is not your identity. So don't partner with that. Don't make agreement with that. Instead, bring people and outside voices into your life to help you move out of it, to move through it, to move beyond it, because you are powerful, you're courageous, you're a game changer here to make a big difference in this world. So be on the offensive side of taking accountability to own and maintain and strengthen your sense of identity through the examples we said, the I am statements, positive affirmations, guarding your thoughts, letting people speak into your life in a powerful way, and asking people for help when you feel off. Be the bold person you're designed to be. Only you can. Lead powerfully and courageously. It's who you are. Recognize when those threats come in. Know that they're not you. You don't have to take on those dark thoughts. And choose to stand up rather than standing down.